release some helium in my basement and see what would happen. Eric's floating around going, "Hi, welcome to the GalaxyCast." That's on video now, by the way. You're welcome.
Hello. I want to adjust your shirt.
Oh.
And everything. So,
well, that's our crack view later on.
I don't want to see that cam. The crack cam.
Okay. Hi, folks. I'm honoring Chris Evans tonight. You'll see why in just a little bit. Yes, I made Chris Evans bigger and on my chest. Okay. What? You don't think it's true?
And I'm honoring Jason Statham.
Okay, here we go. Get it together. Hey folks, welcome to this episode of the GalaxyCast. I have with me in the studio tonight, Eric the Artist.
Resistance is useless.
I have with me, Austin the Numpty.
Join the dark side.
I have with me, Gary the Stud.
I'm Scott Lang, Ant-Man.
I am Bob Chrisman, your host. I need to explain that last one. My son, we asked him who played Ant-Man, and his response was
Scott Lang, because that's the character name. I didn't know the actor name. Okay.
Yeah, my son's still learning actors' names.
My geek card.
Yeah, apparently he's officially lost his geek card for the night tonight. So we have a lot to talk about tonight because it's like New Year Comic-Con weekend, and and it's only Friday. We haven't even hit Saturday yet, and you know all that information.
The next podcast will have...
Within 24 hours from now, it will have a ton of information. Plus, Star Wars Resistance comes out this Sunday, which, by the way, of course, we are going to... watch and review. It's what we do.
What about the new Clone Wars season that was supposed to come out?
That's going to come out later.
Isn't that in December or something?
Yeah, it's going to come out in December. I think what's going to happen is going to have, like they usually do, they'll do probably 10 episodes of whatever TV show they've got going currently, which is Resistance. So they'll normally have that break. I think during that break is when the Clone Wars Ghost season, or whatever you want to call it, is going to come out. So tonight we're going to cover several things. We're going to cover the Aquaman official extended trailer got released. We're going to talk about Chris Evans' news tonight. We're going to talk about some artwork coming out of the Hellboy front. And then there's all sorts of Star Wars stuff to talk about. Something about Kathleen Kennedy, a little bit of something about Jon Favreau, and of course some images that hit the internet that made my world go spinning round and round.
Yay. Baby, right round. Like a record player. Right round, round, round.
Are we done?
Okay. I had to do the whole thing.
Okay, so we're going to first talk about the Aquaman extended trailer. This is a supposed...
My parents were from different worlds. And I was a product of a love that never should have been.
We could unite our worlds one day.
A son of the land. And a son of the seas.
At this point, this trailer caught my attention.
Okay.
I also didn't realize I was watching Nicole Kidman at the time.
You are part of
I wasn't paying attention.
Well, she definitely looks a lot different in the trailer for sure, right? Well, okay.
Take your rightful place.
But her hair is a lot more white than I would have been used to for Nicole Kidman and whatnot. But, you know, there's some cool shots in the trailer. Like, there's that shot. My son loved that one shot we just watched, which had the water with the WB and the DC. But that's just...
We're getting close now.
The graphics just...
special effects.
So when we started the trailer, we saw that it was 5 minutes long. And I thought, oh, God, they're going to ruin the movie. They'll give away way too much. They were smart with this trailer, and I haven't seen this done a lot. They showed an extended section of an action sequence.
Right.
And that probably took up a good quarter of the trailer.
Right.
If not a little more. And that was really neat, because it's getting you interested in the action and how good the quality of the action is, and the visuals, without giving away too much story.
Plotline, yeah.
I kind of like that approach of saying, hey, here's a small snippet of the coolness in the movie.
Thinking when you're not thinking.
What do you think? I like that.
So, what are you doing? Part of me is like, okay, we know Black Manta's the main baddie.
Yes.
Can you figure out from the trailer like what the plot line might be? I mean, it looks to me like maybe Aquaman's gonna come back to go be king.
From what I gather, there's some infighting going on.
It looks like he's fighting his brother or something.
Yeah, there's gonna be someone down there trying to claim the throne, but for bad reasons, to fight the surface. Blah blah blah. We've seen this kind of stuff before.
Right.
So I don't think it's gonna be groundbreaking. But if they put it together in a nice packaged action movie with a good, that whole action sequence gave me kind of a throwback to the fun action sequence. And really enjoying the choreography.
The nuances of things that are going on,
Doing it in the bright sunlight, it's not all dark and dreary. It looks like it's going to be a super colorful movie. I like it. I think there's some nice turnaround. This could be their next winner after Wonder Woman.
I worried that this was going to be like too much underwater. You know what I mean? And I was actually kind of happy that it really doesn't look like it's going to be all of them. You know, like
It looks like to me, from some of the shots, it feels like a mix between the opening of Thor and Black
I memorized it.
You know where we're walking in
There's feels of
Asgard and doing that?
I mean, there was a shot right in here where there's some sort of pulse that goes through the city. Oh, look, it's Ragnarok.
it looked very much like that.
And that's not a bad thing to do. It actually looks
For Atlantis to
very cool,
rise
and I'm willing to
again.
give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just worried that it'll turn together.
Yeah, I agree that it could be. It could be. This is what the problem with DC is. They have not yet found a tonal approach to their universe. They're really all over the map with their attacks, and it looks like more and more they're adopting the Marvel approach.
Right.
This movie looks like it could be a Marvel movie.
Right.
The accuracy of the costume, the lack of the darkness, the creative camera work, the better action sequences that you can really follow. They're not muddled.
Right.
Like that. A lot of humor. I mean, this very much is made in the Marvel mold. I think that's going to appeal to a lot of people.
Actually, the one thing I think is going to make this movie, and I knew this was going to be the thing, is Jason Momoa. I mean, like that whole humor at the beginning about
What?
like
Aquaman is going to make Aquaman?
right. Well, but I mean, like the idea of like when she pulled the water out of his head. We need water. He said, "Well, I could have just peed on it." You know, like that kind of humor is so Jason Momoa. It's like
Feels a little bit like
I mean, it doesn't feel Aquaman. That's the thing.
That is a concern I have.
I've always gotten this feel of Aquaman being
Wars coming to the surface.
And I guess this is the point is we're going to see him kind of get there, but he'll always be rough. And that's their
unless you help
DC
us.
universe take. I'm fine with that, but I don't know. There are some things like that that you didn't. I'm not a big DC person movie-wise anyway. I usually wait for them to come out to streaming services before I watch them.
Yeah.
I've always been a Marvel guy. But this looks good. I say it looks good, at least from the trailer. But
I might actually go see this in
I've
theaters.
seen well-cut trailers before. They're very
Now I need something.
This is true. Yeah. Yeah, you can make even the cruddiest movie look good with a trailer. Yeah. Gary, what were your thoughts on this trailer that we watched?
Be greater than a king.
There's a couple good action scenes in it.
What about the scene where he's actually in the costume?
I do like that they brought it out. I'm just afraid that's like the last shot of the movie we just saw.
Right.
And they're teasing the fact that in future movies he'll be in the Aquaman costume. But
Right.
And I also like the throwback to like ancient Greece or ancient Egypt or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was a product of the love that never should have
I
been.
found it interesting though. They almost they have that Superman-esque feel to it, where like he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be talking to his dad
And the son of
through that little thing. That,
Right.
So like.
it's almost like the crystals and seeds.
Right,
are,
like you're getting where I'm going with that. Like it has that feel to it, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think Aquaman ever did that in the comics. I don't believe.
Well, you can't talk to the
bridge between land and sea.
Right. Well, I guess that's true.
Take your
So then what?
place.
I don't know.
I think he's seeing an old king of Atlantis who is probably his grandfather on the maternal side.
I
on the
get what
mother's
you're
side.
saying.
probably being
Yeah.
like a father figure to explain roles of the king.
I'll be like wholeheartedly honest right here, right now. I don't know a lot about Aquaman other than the little bit you got to know him in DC Super Friends.
Right.
Never read the comic book. Sorry. Right. That's my only picture I have of Aquaman. So that's what I'm basing all of this off of.
I'm
So
also getting a kind
of course, it's going to be better than what I can picture.
them throwing this whole, them finding a temple in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
And the puzzles and stuff. I'm definitely getting a vibe of almost Indiana Jones off this. And I wonder if he's going to be that kind of character, an adventure through the world, both above and below the sea.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The whole chase scene through
Before
the
the
coastal
Sahara
town
was a
feels
desert.
very Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of approach. Although, you know what it feels much more like? And I can say this only because I just watched the movie.
You need water.
Tintin.
You're the closest.
Have you seen the animated Tintin?
Yes.
There's a great sequence in that, all done in one shot. The camera keeps moving around of a whole chase sequence through a coastal town, through buildings, downhill, and I'm like,
I can see where you see that in
so
there.
I see that. I see with the whole, she takes the water to get the thing activated. It's very much out of the Fifth Element. It's of the different
when you brought that
sigil
up,
things they had to do.
all I could think of was what's the one with Nicolas Cage, and they were Thank you, National Treasure had that kind of feel to it.
We talked about, the father figure appearing, which is very much like the original Superman.
Right.
So the thing that worries me is how much of this is going to take ideas from other good things. We got Star Wars, the Duncan City, in a bongo.
Yeah.
So there's things that make me nervous. Like, is it going to rely too much on familiar imagery and tropes, or are we really going to get something unique?
But on the flip side of that, when I look at this from a costume perspective, there's some amazing, just absolutely outright amazing costumes in this entire movie. Every time I see a new shot, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a costume movie so amazing. There's another one awesome too. Hey, wait! I don't know. It has this awesome potential. I kind of like the girl in it.
Didn't you?
Although her hair color is like, wow.
Is she Mara?
What did you say?
I believe she's supposed to be Mara. This is my understanding, yeah. But, at the same time, I don't know.
Too red.
It's like, it's almost,
Made or red.
it's almost like fake red, but I like it. It works for me. Yeah. So, I don't know. Part of me wants to go to the theater and see it, but I have the same misgivings you do, Eric. It worries me.
Black Manta looks great. I love the pumped up costume with the added detail, the armoring.
I love the fact that they've got like smoke coming out of their eyes and all that kind of cool stuff. It's probably a little overdone in the trailer and whatnot, but it's still kind of cool.
Jetpack should be gold back.
But look at him in the cartoon. He looks the same way. He really
I do like it. I think it's got some good. I like the weight they've added to it.
Yeah.
You're complaining about his backpack, but you're not saying
Right.
I said a thing about his helmet.
The helmet's huge, but the backpack,
I
that's
said a thing
okay.
about his helmet last time because I compared this because I've never really gotten into Aquaman. The only really big points I've seen of Black Manta are in Young Justice.
Yeah.
And Young Justice is such a smaller, things a little sleeker, it looks more like an army suit than it is. That's the difference you can do in cartoon and
Right.
And that's why I'm not judging that much of this.
I gotta say though, I like what I'm seeing. I like the camera. I like here's the thing I actually like about it: the wide shots. The fact that this is opening up, even on the regular sequences on land, chasing through and all that. The fact that this is doing more cinematic,
help us.
not that stupid cutting close, it all muddy, murky. It feels cinematic and wide, and that's the director, I guess. Like,
I was gonna say, part of me says that it's either the producers or the director or both, and I think both are probably in sync with each other, and it looks like they're doing a pretty good job. The big question I have is, can this save the DC universe? I guess that's the question at hand.
This cannot be used to save
It can start it on. It can get it back on the right track. I don't think it's going to be a make all like, my God, we need more DCU, but it can definitely.
And if this goes well, and Batman changes,
which now they're
Superman
saying
changes.
We have to bring it up. Recently, Ben Affleck has come out as saying he's not done with the character. He hasn't completed what he wanted to do with the character, so he's saying he's still in.
Really?
This only came out a few days ago.
Because he went to rehab.
He completed it, right?
Completed 40 days, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
So, and he didn't give up on the Batman. It's the
DC people.
DC people said that, well, since he's in rehab, we don't know how long he's going to be gone, so we're just going to say he's done with Batman.
Yeah. And then we talked last week about our last podcast about how is Cavill actually gone or not. Now they're saying that the whole thing was this kind of weird made-up drama.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was the point of this?
Kind of like what we said, just to get people talking.
To get attention and get... Well, again, because he wanted more money to play Superman in the Shazam movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And they couldn't come to an agreement on it, so he walked away from the tables on it, so they figured that he's probably quit.
So that it seems like they're very quick to just drop actors there, and that's nerve-wracking because it's like Marvel, I think, does almost everything they can to keep them.
Here's the thing, I don't think they are. No, I'm being serious, but I think what they're doing here is all drama on purpose.
Right.
Because let's face it, Marvel's cranking out movies much quicker than they can.
And
so they got to do something.
They come out with Justice League, which is supposed to be their big one, and everyone's like, meh. Gone. Marvel comes out with Infinity War. There are memes about it that are as popular today as the day it came. This movie is just talked about more and more. People are analyzing the snap, analyzing this. Marvel nailed it.
And then they come out with Ant-Man and the Wasp, which really is kind of a much lower key, but still makes almost as much as So they can't
hugely
lose.
popular,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, my opinion, DC just rushed the Justice League movie.
Oh, totally.
They absolutely
They
did.
should have done what they're doing here now is
All the intro
They
movies.
did the Wonder Woman movie. They did the Aquaman movie now. Then wait for Cyborg and Flash and
Right, then do your Justice League, and it would have made a lot more sense. And something tells me later, when it's all out, and we watch it in timeline order, we're all going to go, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
But Justice League will still
to that. And
Justice League will still not be a good movie.
yeah, I agree.
I haven't sat down and watched it, so I have no idea.
Don't. It's a waste of 2 hours of your life. Okay.
Like, do Where's My Car?
Not that
That
bad,
movie's
but-
actually entertaining.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're doing the bubble wrap characters, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. There was big news that came off of the set of Avengers 4 today.
Yes.
Well, actually 2 days ago, I should say.
It's Ford Truck Month. That's what it was.
Yes, that was the official.
I think the first thing we should say is there has been a rumor as to what the title, another rumor as to what the title of Avengers 4 is.
Yeah,
And it's
apparently
Avengers
it's
4
Annihilation. That's what's being rumored is the title.
Annihilation is a character in Marvel, isn't he?
There's a Nihilus.
There's a
Is a
Nihilus.
character.
Right, I don't think that's
Which,
what you're...
that'd be interesting if they tied him in at the end or in it somehow into the multiverse and all that.
Yeah, that could be...
That could be a way
And
to hint
I've always
at
thought
another-
Annihilus was a really cool character too.
And that could tie into the Eternals rumor I've heard.
Oh, Eternals is definitely going forward.
Right, but have you heard what about the rumor is about Eternals?
No.
The Guardians of the Galaxy 3, done.
Yeah, and
And that the Eternals movie may take its place. That's
See,
what I heard.
just heard that Disney is honoring and going to use James Gunn's script for Guardians 3. They're not going to have him direct,
really?
but they said they're going to use the script. So
Okay.
they're going to kind of be all over the place too, I guess.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're pushing back Guardians of the Galaxy 3 farther back and bringing Eternals in as the replacement for now.
Possibly.
And then put Guardians of the Galaxy 3 later.
Now,
Everyone's saying that they should get the guy, what's his name, Tiki Wataki,
To
do Guardians
direct it.
3.
Yeah.
The guy who did Ragnarok.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
now they have a perfect shoe into Nihilus and everything right now. 42.
42.
Oh, that's the meaning of life, universe, and everything.
It's true, but it's also a prison.
Yeah,
Yes,
in the Avengers
because don't they move the prison to a the microverse or the
They move it to the-
whatever, the
yeah,
multiverse?
Well, isn't that the prison that Tony was visiting?
Yeah, it's
Right.
floating in the ocean
Floating
right
in
now.
the ocean
Right.
currently?
Right, but
Right.
it's actually in the
Baxter Building.
The multiverse.
multiverse.
Yeah, they put it in.
Eventually it goes into the multiverse,
Yeah.
right?
Well, in
yeah.
the comics, that's where they built it.
Right.
The doors on the Baxter Building,
Right, we're supposed to lead to it.
and it goes right to the
Which can tie into into Fantastic Four because there's
right.
We know that. We know Fantastic Four is coming.
You all gotta watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. You're killing me.
I'm
all killing me right now.
I'm gonna, and this weekend.
I have an answer for all of you, but until you watch that movie, I can't tell you.
This weekend.
You gotta get me a disc copy. I don't have it.
So here's what happens. Long story short, we had a tweet from Chris Evans, and
go back up.
Go ahead. It's short. Read it word for word.
yeah, I'm trying to go back there.
there.
So it says, officially wrapped on Avengers 4. It was an emotional day to say the least. Playing this role over the last 8 years has been an honor. To everyone in front of the camera, behind the camera, and in the audience, thank you for the memories. Eternally grateful. And I gotta admit, I kind of was reading this going, I was at orchestra practice and the trumpet players next to me were like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I think Chris Evans just quit. I was just like, I was actually like, I started to,
And the other trumpet player looked at you and go,
what's wrong with you? Nerd! Actually, I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, I thought it was funny
Just like,
though because
just like the guy from Revenge of the Nerds. Someone just looking from a distance like, nerds.
I thought the most interesting part of this though was Ronald Reynolds' response. He says, "I'm not crying, I'm weeping. There's a difference." Now I thought it would have been funnier if he just said, "I'm not crying, I'm just leaking from my eyes," or something like Deadpoolish. But this worked too.
I know exactly what he's going to do. He gave up playing Captain America, he's going to play Johnny Storm again.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Actually, that would be hysterical if he
would
came
be.
in as Johnny Storm at
It
some
would be.
point.
He's like, he gets to lose a lot of weight if he wants to do that. He doesn't keep up with the muscle
Right.
workout routine.
Well, then I thought it was interesting that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came in with his tweet. "What a run you had, brother. Congrats on breathing life into such an iconic character." Now, here's the quote that has everybody talking. "Keep on keeping on." Now, for those who are huge Captain America fans, like read all the comics all the way through, that's what Nick Fury said to Steve Rogers just before he walked away as Nomad. So Steve Rogers went to Nick Fury and said, I'm leaving Captain America behind. I'm going off my own. He had his Nomad costume on, and as he walked away, it's at the very end of the comic. I have the issue. We can look at it later. And Nick Fury says, well, whatever you do, Steve. And then at the big, huge page thing, Cap walking away in the Nomad costume, and it's Nick Fury saying, keep on keeping on. And I don't know why that grabbed so many people's attention, and it grabbed mine too. I was like, are they trying to say something there?
Right.
You know?
And your belief is?
Well, I have like several beliefs, and I don't know which one to believe anymore. So I have that belief is that he's going to be Nomad now. So yeah, he's not playing Cap, but he might play Nomad for a while. You know, which, okay, so he walks away as from Captain America, which
I thought that's what he was in Infinity War.
Well, that was the rumor, but they still
dropped the shield. And
hang on. That ended when they referred to him as Cap, not Steve. Right? Because that was brought up too. Somebody said, well, he can't be Nomad. They called him Cap. Hey, good to see you again, Cap. Hey, Cap, here's my friend, Tree and Squirrel, or whatever he says, Thor. So everybody called him Cap. They didn't call him Steve. When he becomes Nomad, he goes back to using Steve Rogers as his main name. And Nomad actually isn't really ever referenced or said, except by Steve Rogers himself.
See, the funny thing was, I thought that the directors, the brothers, the Russo brothers, said he's officially Nomad in Avengers Infinity War.
They did, and that's the really weird thing. Like, they said that prior to the movie coming out, but then he was referenced as Cap throughout the whole movie. So I don't know if that was the plan, and then somewhere along the way, maybe Disney said, not yet. You know what I mean? Like, maybe somewhere they decided not yet.
Or the Avengers are so used to calling him Cap, it's kind of force of habit.
Maybe. So that's part of it. My other side still wants to hang on to my original idea, and that is they could let whoever they want go. So if Robert Downey Jr. wants out, if Chris Evans wants out, whoever wants out of their contract, there's a really simple answer. Ms. Marvel is coming out.
Yes.
I've pointed this out like a million times. I'm still hanging on to my theory that whoever wants out, they can use the Skrull Wars to say they were killed by a Skrull somewhere along the way. They could do a flashback somewhere in the timeline. Skrull killed them, replaced them, and now all of a sudden the Skrulls are certain characters.
Or they could say they could bring him in as a different character, say they replaced him and they've been holding him hostage because that has happened.
I just think the Skrull thing is a really hard sell for not for like average people on the planet. Like we see the shot in the Ms. Marvel trailer where she punches the old lady on the bus, and everyone knows it's because she's a Skrull. So yes, there are going to be Skrulls that we already know because of the Ms. Marvel trailer that there are Skrulls on the planet back in the 80s.
Right.
So it's a while ago.
Right.
I think, though, it's a very hard sell to your audience, the majority of whom are not comic-versed people and didn't go through the whole Secret Wars or Skrull invasion, not Secret Wars, the Skrull invasion thing, to say, hey, these people you've known and loved, played by these actors, weren't. But the Skrulls, for some big and nefarious reason, did heroic things for a really long time as them and fought to do heroic things and could duplicate their powers and everything, and you got to buy that because now the characters, people are going to be like, they're going to think it's weird. I think what you have to do is you have to have the Skrulls be people on Earth, but I think any of these characters that go I don't think any of these major characters are going to be Skrulls unless they're planning like a trick, like a by the way, Hawkeye's always been a Skrull, or something like something weird like that. But I don't know. I don't see any of our major characters being revealed as Skrulls. That's gonna be my call.
I know what you're saying, and I'm only saying it because to me it was such a shock in the comic books when they happened.
Right.
Why not use that same shock value within the MCU?
Right.
I mean, it was a shock value to us, and we knew it about Skrulls.
Right.
So imagine if you didn't know about Skrulls, what a shock value that would be ultimately.
Right.
I mean, Marvel's got so many options. There's little things they can pull out here and there. And the Skrulls are a really easy one. I've always said it would be a really easy reset to use the Skrulls as a quick reset. And you could start over with a new Cap, with a new Iron Man,
the reality stone. I still think it's the reality stone is our answer. And when the ending happens and like that stone breaks, things crack. You already know about the idea of the multiverse, and things change.
Talk to me after this weekend.
With only Doctor Strange recognizing it.
Talk to me after this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good gracious, there's something in Ant-Man and Wasp that is very
I know there's
huge. And stay for all the credits.
Of course.
Okay. Huge. Huge. Okay. So next thing we wanted to talk about, there was a release at New York Comic Con of 2 bits of artwork from Hellboy, which is to be released in 2019, right?
Yeah, they pushed it back too. No, I don't think it's April anymore.
It's not April
unless yes, it is April, because I think originally it was going to be like February.
It's supposed to be February, right?
And they are pushing it to closer to a summer blockbuster release time.
Right. I think that's on purpose though too, because I think it's actually going to be
monk, Rasputin was working. He'd been alive forever, worked with the Nazis to try to open a door. Hitler wanted some great weapon. Nothing happened, they thought, but he was working on his own project, and he brought Hellboy in. And Hellboy was picked up by a bunch of British soldiers who basically adopted him and raised him. A scientist named Trevor Broom, Professor Broom, raised him as a kid, and he learned how to be like a person. So his attitude is very much like a blue-collar working guy. He looks like this, but he drinks beers and wants to smoke cigars, and his tagline is always like, "Ah, crap." He's just like, he's very much a everyman, but his part of him is built and grounded in the world of the fantastic, in the world of elves and fairies and legends and myths and Satan and all that. So he's torn, and he fights against those things because since he was raised as a person, he hates that stuff and he fights against monsters, but he's pulled into that whole universe.
in some photos it looks like his left hand, but other ones it looks like his right hand.
It's always his right, because it's called the right hand of doom.
Right.
So what it is that had a key in it. The power in that hand was the key to starting the apocalypse. And it's trapped in there with him, and he ignores that whole side of himself. So it's just part of him, and he holds on to it.
To me, he's a great example of those anti-heroes we always talk about.
Entirely.
Right? Like he's that grapples with himself, and as an anti-hero,
he's born into being the Prince of the Apocalypse. He's supposed to be.
He brings the apocalypse.
He's supposed to be the demon that came and destroyed the world.
Right.
And he's like, I just want to eat pancakes, and he calls them pancakes. Doesn't call them pancakes. And drink beers, and be a relaxing guy who watches TV and whatever. So it's just this great kind of dichotomy that they've set up.
He must be the Al Bundy.
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, the comics early on played up that side of him very heavily. He was very much the blue-collar guy who fought against monsters. The comics later on were about him leaving the bureau that he worked with, going off on his own, and he wandered into, as they called it, stranger places. And I think
that's when I stopped following.
He went up against what's her name? The Russian famous witch. She has a house with a chicken leg, and she rides around on a pot. It's a famous legend in Russia, and I can't think of her. The Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga? Oh, okay.
So she has this, 100 years long vendetta against him.
Right, okay.
She sends all these things after him, and they mess with his life, and the witches of the world think he's supposed to be the one who brings about the apocalypse, and they worship him, but he wants nothing to do with it, so the witches try and go after him. Okay. And it's like everything within all of evil mythology, fantasy stuff ends up, not mythology, more fantasy and legend, he ends up crossing paths with, and they all are kind of after him for different reasons, and he's always just like, I hate all this stuff, just leave me alone. So, but later on, he very much almost leaves Earth. Most of what he travels is kind of these weird, not quite real places.
Third-dimensional places.
Yeah, but it's like he's in Russia, but he's in a legend kind of Russia. Right. Or he goes traveling through Africa, but he's in an Africa where the lions are the spirit of Africa, and they actually talk to him and stuff.
Right.
He's not quite in reality through a lot of those later comics, and this feels very much like it's going to play off those later comics. So I wonder how fantastical and weird it's going to get.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is interesting, because then you could say the Ron Perlmans are the earlier comics and these are the laters, and you could still keep them all.
I even heard that some are saying this is not an entire reboot.
Right.
That this is
just a continuation. Right. And it would work. Right. Okay. So let's move on to the bigger news.
I'm a Hellboy fan, by the way. That's what that whole thing came down to.
So let's move on to the bigger news that we want to talk about, because Star Wars all of a sudden decided, hey, nobody pays attention to us. Pay attention.
Open the floodgates.
Yeah, let's like I told you, it's like feast or famine whenever it comes to Star Wars stuff.
Lately, it's been too much feast.
I agree with you.
Too much stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like we're inundated with all of it. So the first thing that I want to talk about, which, depending on which friend you are on my feed, you either love this or hate it. So Kathleen Kennedy, it's been revealed that her contract has now officially been renewed till 2021.
3 years.
3-year contract. And I gotta be honest, there was one or two responses to that. Yay, or...
Yeah, she's a polarizing character.
She really is.
Why? Can I please be explained why?
Why what?
Why she was renewed.
Well, think about this.
I thought we were having issues with her in The Last Jedi and taking over things like Leia couldn't die that way, or this couldn't happen that way. She was trying to dictate that.
That's what a lot of people
female force.
It depends on what you think.
Again, and it's the weird thing. We don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. Of course, these are all things I'm basing everything I know, almost all, on speculation. I do know that from the Disney perspective, she's drawing money in.
Right.
So right now,
The Last Jedi brought in tons of money.
Still brought in tons of money. So right now, at least from the perspective of a company, she's not doing anything wrong. So that's why I was kind of I wasn't shocked that she got a 3-year extension. Part of me was shocked at the length of the extension.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I would have thought Disney would only done 1 year. You know what I mean?
When it's next Christmas that we get episode 9, right?
Yes.
Not this Christmas, but next.
Next, right.
So you're talking, that's a first year.
Right.
So she's got 2 more years after that. Mm-hmm. Just enough time to start a new trilogy.
Yeah.
Then that next series they talked about to kind of
the Rian Johnson
production and get the first episode out and see how it does. And if that fails, oh well, her contract's up. If it doesn't fail, you renew her. I just, that 3 years seems like we're going to get something around 2022 or whatever, or 21, whenever. There's going to be a new big thing, because obviously after 9, other than you got the Mandalorian TV show, you got, spoiler alert, you can cut that out. You got upcoming TV shows. You got The Resistance being played. It's coming out now. You got Clone Wars being an extra season. She's got some stuff to kind of oversee in the big picture, but we don't have, after episode 9, any announcement. I mean, they stopped talking about the Solo movies.
It is confirmed that the Solo movie and the Boba Fett movie have been shelved.
Right.
You mean Kenobi and Solo, or Kenobi and
Boba Fett.
Because Solo's already out.
Right. So Kenobi and Boba Fett have not been canned, but they've been shelved.
Right. But are they doing did they plan on any other individual movies?
No. So they've already decided they agreed that the Solo Last Jedi thing left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Theirs included. They've all agreed they need to slow down. It's too much all at once.
No, that's all fine. So after episode 9, we have no news right now of what will come next. What my wondering is, because they do Celebration every 2 years, so we have Celebration coming up, then we won't have one after
10.
When episode 9 comes out.
Right, or 9, yeah.
Which is weird, though, because they usually tie them to the movies, so that's what's strange. But I'm wondering if whatever is in the works will be first announced at this upcoming Celebration in the spring.
It's a possibility.
That the first hints of what to expect after 9.
Well, I think it's all streaming service stuff.
Well, yeah, they're doing their own. They're all going to Disney's, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big announcement. I really think that's going to be the thing that's going to come out. Disney's, I think, going to come up with a Star Wars app or whatever you want to call it, and that everything Star Wars is going into a streaming service through their logo and everything else. So,
and they'll probably talk about episode 9.
They probably will.
Definitely, we'll be talking about it.
And then
we'll probably get a first trailer.
I would imagine.
At Celebration.
There'll be a trailer drop there. Yeah.
Then, depending how good episode 9 does, is when I think that they'll actually announce what's going to come out afterwards.
Like put a timeline out after everything else has gone through.
I'm telling you, I still think the episode 9 trailer is going to reveal that kid that was the ending of the last one is the beginning of the next story arc. I think the end of 9 is going to reveal that. So your trailer is going to show that, and then that'll be Friday night, right? So then Saturday is all going to be about here's the story arc and here's who's telling it. And by the way, the rumor is Rian Johnson has been told, no, you're not.
We'll have to see.
We don't know. There's no confirmation on it yet, but I've been told from back sources they decided after The Last Jedi, not worth the risk. Not worth the risk.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is a trailer. Fade in on a door, Star Wars-y with the whole lights and everything. Comes open. In steps a kid in a robe, a guy in a robe. Holds up a broom, starts beating up stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's something along that lines. But I mean, something along that lines would be huge.
Toxic Avenger,
right?
Boom boy.
But what I really think is going on here, and I this is where I say that the timing of Kathleen Kennedy's contract is interesting, because this is right around the same time that the rumor came out about Rian Johnson. So I'm wondering if the deal was, if you want to still work at LFL, you have to go tell Ryan he's out for the next 3.
I wonder.
And I wonder if that was the deal. And so she had enough guts to go to him and say, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. She gets to keep her job. Ryan gets to go find something else to work on.
This is all speculation, people.
This is all speculation.
We're not walking the halls of the
I'm just saying it's the timing is just a little too
it's not like we have a camera in the third bathroom on the second floor under the sink.
Don't tell where my cameras are.
No, it's not like we have. It's not like
No, there's no camera there. Yeah.
No, it's in the fourth stall on the left.
Right, or in that library office on the first floor behind the red book on the third shelf. It's not there either.
It's the first star to the right. Keep on going until morning.
No. It's in the left eyeball of Jar Jar and Carbonite.
No one would think.
I was supposed to tell you that.
Corey.
Meanwhile, Lucasfilm is checking all of those locations.
Okay, so I thought that was interesting. Kathleen Kennedy's contract got negotiated out.
And that they announced it now. It just got
right. So then,
I'll ask this question later.
This week, they start dropping more information at us. For example, Jon Favreau writes a very interesting tweet.
He doesn't actually. He posts a picture
before he put the. Yeah, let's back that up a second. Before the tweet came out, a picture was released.
No, I thought the picture came out after the tweet.
Yeah, the picture came out like yesterday.
All right. So let me back that up. Let me back that up and start over. So interestingly enough, Jon Favreau releases a tweet that I thought was like it grabbed my attention immediately, and like everybody I knew was like, "Whoa!" So it just simply says, "The Mandalorian." After the stories of Jango and
them saying,
well, that had nothing to do with Star Wars New York Comic Con, so yeah, I'm going to scratch that out now. Sorry. Okay. So I find this interesting because they immediately tie Boba and Jango Fett into this, right? Which my brain goes to, okay, so you're talking about major bounty hunters. And then they say another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. So part of me sits here and says, okay, the title of the show is The Mandalorian, right? So we don't know the name of the Mandalorian. We just know it is a Mandalorian.
We don't know who's under the suit.
We don't know who's under the suit. And I find it interesting the timing of it. It's between Empire and First Order. And let's face it, that is a... Crap. That's me. Hang on.
See you too. All right,
that was my fault.
My sound is on.
All right, so let me back that up again. So I find the timing interesting because it's set between Empire and the First Order, which in the Star Wars universe, nobody's written about the Mandalorians in that time frame. So this is
okay.
So Favreau's getting an open canvas here to do with as he pleases. I find that cool. I mean, just the idea that they were giving him an open canvas to run with.
So what is the story going to be like? A spaghetti western, he's hunting down somebody, trying to find somebody?
I think it's supposed to be. They've heard it very much described, because they describe it as a lone gunfighter and all that. It's very much a western in outer space.
But what I see happening is, instead of having a continuing story arc throughout the whole thing, it's going to be jumpy around.
I'm thinking the same thing too. Like, the Mandalorian could be this Mandalorian, then that Mandalorian, then this Mandalorian, then that Mandalorian.
Mandalorians you're following at a single time.
I'm instead of it being like Magnificent Seven, where you're following the same 7 guys the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know, though.
I'm wondering if you're following different gunslingers all the way through that time period.
The way they word
until you get to that one that becomes Mandalore.
The way they word it, we followed the travails of a lone gunfighter, not of
several gunfighters. I guess that's true.
But you're going to follow the Mandalorian between the fall of the Empire and the First Order. That's an awful long time.
Yeah. You get it right.
They didn't say it's going to fill the entire gap. They just said this is when it takes place. I have a feeling it's probably going to take place closer to Empire, because Resistance takes place closer to
to New Order.
New Order. So I have a feeling this is going to be closer to like Return of the Jedi end of that, and not long after.
Right. Yeah, the first few episodes will probably be that. Then you'll go jump like in the future.
You think it'll jump around that much?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because here's what I think you're going to see. This is just my personal take on it. I think what you're going to see is a lone gunfighter who's, right, okay, so you've got the loner, and I think what we're going to see here is the rise of the next Mandalore. So I think you're going to see him become kind of a gunfighter-esque type, smuggler type, that rises into inspiring the Mandalorians to come back together and become a culture again.
What is the latest time period that Mandalorians are written about and talk about in canon?
I think Clone Wars, and then just about after that.
So like nothing.
Well, they were in Rebels, right?
They were in Rebels, and we got Boba Fett as a lone one up to Jedi.
Right.
Correct.
So his death in Jedi is the last canon timeline Mandalorian we hear about.
As far as I know,
As far as we know, yes.
There's been nothing at all in the new
ever
series.
Written. Nope, not. Well, of course, that's all legacy
novels,
now. That's
legacy
all gone.
Stuff. Okay, get rid of the legacy stuff.
Right.
There's been nothing in the newer books.
Nope.
None that I know of.
No, I know for a fact because I've been looking, and there's
a very open canvas.
Right, like I said, they're giving Favreau a lot of. But think about what the open canvas he got with Marvel, and how quickly he tied that into something. So part of me is like,
this is the man who created the Marvel universe.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this could be the guy who ties it all together finally, right? Like the guy who could fix it all, Mr. Fix It. He could come in and do it.
Yeah. He did good. I mean, he is a visionary. So
I have a curious question.
What?
Could you tie Boba Fett into the story? Have him come out of the Sarlacc pit?
I don't think you're going to see.
They did in the comic.
I don't think you're going to see Boba and Jango. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think after Favreau put this up, I think he made it clear.
Well, you're definitely not going to see Jango
because it says after the it says after the stories of Jango and Boba Fett.
Okay.
I think they're making it clear right there. They're not going to touch on them, and I think that's good though because I think that's kind of like we're done with that. And I like that because now Boba's still potentially out there. You don't need to touch that. I'm good. I'm good with that.
Okay.
It still leaves that Boba Fett mystery. You know what I mean? That we like to always believe's there.
Which leaves up to the Boba Fett movie, if there ever is.
If there is one, that could be that story.
Will be this same time as New Hope and Empire.
Correct.
Or, depending on when this movie starts, all it says is it's between Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's sometime in that time period.
First Order.
It could be much closer to the middle or later. So a Boba Fett movie could literally be him escaping.
Can I tell you what I've heard though about the Boba Fett movie, at least from what the original script was? It was supposed to be between Empire and Return. How did Han go from being in Boba Fett's hands to being in Jabba the Hutt's hands? Like how? And you're supposed to.
So it's a nice way to tie it in. You don't have to hire Harrison Ford. You just do a floating around tie-in. Everyone knows it.
Correct.
That's actually a smart idea.
That's what I was like when I heard that was a script. I'm like, and you could make it a whole story. Like,
I mean, here's the thing: he's traveling with one of the most valuable cargo in Jabba's.
Right, and other bounty hunters are going to want.
Everyone goes after him. And you got one of those crazy.
And the rumor was they were supposedly going to have like Dengar and IG-88
those would be great.
Working together to go after Boba to get Han, and then go to Vader and be like, "But we got him first." You know?
Yeah, I mean, having all.
I thought that would have been a cool movie.
Return Zuckuss, put them all back in because you didn't see any of them die.
Right.
I was going to say, I thought
vanished.
Boba Fett was given permission by Vader to take Solo.
He was.
They all were.
Who's to say he's like
no disintegrations?
Yeah.
But that's the thing about bounty hunters. There's no loyalty. So if Dengar kills Boba, he takes the body, brings it back to Vader. He still gets the.
Or he can bring
Jabba. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say Vader
was the wrong person.
Vader was right there giving them to him.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. I heard Vader, and that's what I immediately assumed is.
No, but I'm saying is like anybody could collect it.
I would totally go see that movie.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That small. It's like a one-day movie. It's just a snippet story about him and all the other bounty hunters get to come back and
fight over.
You got Boss being badass, and you get them all in. I would.
And then there was rumor inside of all that they were considering writing into that. Who's the Clone Wars bounty hunter?
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane was going to get written into that too, and I would have been like, that would have worked.
Woo!
Like you could bring in a Clone Wars character, you could have all the cool characters for Empire, and everybody was sat there and going, "Yeah, this is cool."
I can understand what you're saying there, but supposedly in the last season of the Clone Wars, we're going to see the gunfight between
Boba and Cad, right?
So that might be taking
and that might be the only reason maybe that they decided not, So there was a lot of.
I also see this as
ability there.
You can even have Vader.
Remember,
you can even have Vader.
But wait! Can I give you some hope? It's not.
Right, it's not canceled.
It's just shelved.
And this could be
so it's still it's our new hope. It's still out there. It's still a potential reality.
Good joke.
I just think it's something that may come down the pike farther down the road. You know,
and that's one. I mean, apart from Dengar, that's the only face you see, and they could make up and cast.
Sure,
that. The rest of those bounty hunters are masked and hidden. You could do this movie at any time and make all these characters. I'd love a movie where you don't see a friggin' face.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be? That every main character is not human or has a mask, and that's it. They keep them on the entire time.
Yeah,
that'd be like a great movie.
Absolutely. And a lot of people said if they would have done this movie first, not Rogue One, I'm in a different boat with you guys about Rogue One.
I know.
But there might have been less controversy had they done the Boba Fett one because it's just a nice captured story.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
I also see this as. They gave Jon Favreau said, we're trying to get Boba Fett into the series. Here, take this and go do something with it. Try to give some fan base to The Mandalorian. Then we'll bring Boba in and maybe merge him into the story.
I think they're still thinking Boba's dead.
I think they're running with that. I really do.
I hope. I mean, I'd love to see him escape, but
I just don't think we're going to see it. So on top of that, as if all that's not interesting enough, then Facebook goes crazy because while people are near Comic-Con, they cameras when you look at that?
Oh, totally. First thing I thought.
Yeah.
I had one glance and I was just like, the feel of it is very Star Wars.
It kind of looks like Tatooine.
I can't figure if that's a tassel hanging from the person walking away or some kind of tail.
Oh. I think it's just like the end piece of a belt coming off the backside.
Yeah, probably.
Now,
But
the other thing is they're saying that the helmet is not a real helmet; it's CGI'd.
That doesn't surprise me. Does that really surprise you?
And the reason why they say it is because if it was a true shiny helmet,
It'd be reflecting stuff.
it'd be reflecting the cameras and stuff.
Right.
well, you can kind of see a building and stuff in there.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've touched it up to remove
So
Like,
reflection.
The cameras and
Yeah,
stuff. That's all.
and then that's why it looks kind of digital, is because they've touched it up just
Right,
to
they've
take
touched
stuff
up,
out.
take out stuff. Yeah, and the lighting's kind of weird on the helmet itself, so that would run with that idea.
I would think that would be obvious. I think that would be something they did, but I would also think, why would you use metallic like chrome paint? Why not use like the hammer metal that most Mandos use when they're trying to get a metal look?
Because he's not a typical Mando.
Right.
Look at my armor. Look at my armor.
Fair.
Look at my armor.
I know.
I also like the fact though that there are picked up pieces. It's obvious some stormtrooper armors
Yes.
on there. It's obvious. I actually kind of like that idea.
I do
so.
too.
I thought Boba Fett had armor on the back of his gloves.
I wonder if that's also not going to be the final costume. I wonder if during the
That's a
show
possibility.
he'll add to it, and
Right.
it'll be a cosplayer's dream where it's like, we got to
Yeah, he
keep
keeps-
up.
he keeps
We have-
changing, he keeps changing,
adding,
he keeps
and
changing,
everyone's
yeah.
like, we got to keep up.
Yeah.
He's not actually the Mandalorian.
Right. What if he's just a Mandalorian, but not the Mandalorian? I brought that up too. I was like, what if this is just a background guy?
That'd be great if they're just like,
Right.
you come here, let's get a picture of you. We're
Yeah.
going to show you first.
Why? Because we're just going to show you.
Yeah,
It's okay,
the real picture is no one's gonna is Boba.
I'm gonna laugh at like one of the guys from England go, "That's my armor," you know, like. You know what I find interesting though? I like the idea that this is all mixed, but it was funny because some of the guys in the merch boards were like, "Oh, here we go, the CRLs are gonna get screwed up again," because it was kind of like, you know, Stormtrooper armor and Mando armor. We said that wouldn't happen. Well, guess what? Disney just went and did it anyway. Yeah. So. Are you guys excited about this show, The Mandalorian? Now that we're getting some information, it's finally coming out. Mm-hmm. It's finally something we want. Are you excited about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for this listening to our episode here of Nerd Talks About Costumes. We now return to our noble talk about actual shows.
Okay, Bob, to answer your question,
Yes.
no.
No. Really?
What?
This didn't do anything for you to get you excited about it at all?
Nope.
Okay. Not even like the potentiality of what Favreau said about what it's about.
Not really.
Okay.
I'm not excited about it yet. I need to see more than just a still picture.
Okay.
Fair trailer.
What do you think, Eric? Does this make you more
I
excited?
mean, I got to agree with Gary. It's hard to say what it's going to be, but I think I'm more excited than he is, only because I'm more about the Favreau side of things.
Yeah.
I have faith in him as there's a couple creators out there who I really like. He's one of them. I think
Right.
he's a person who's kind of a visionary.
Huge potential, I think, here.
And I think Disney bringing him in to do it was a smart move. So I'm kind of interested in seeing where he goes.
Awesome.
I'm excited about that part, but I'm not. From what I've seen so far.
Oh yeah, I need to see some footage and see how, because this is the problem. Is it going to be I mean, granted, now there are very cinematic TV shows, Game of Thrones, stuff like that. So I think this being cinematic it's going to be right up there. But I picture in my head other TV shows we've seen that don't reach that level of movie quality.
Right.
And that, obviously with the budget this is going to have, they'll make it. But I got to see it first before I get
Okay.
that little bit of worry.
So, Austin, what do you think?
I'm excited, but I'm also very much like these two nervous about the.
I didn't say I was nervous. I just said I wasn't excited.
You are terrified.
You said you were nervous about. You said you were nervous about
The humanity of the whole thing, you know, it just bothered me. It bothered me bad.
Okay, all right, jeez.
I need to go inside. I'm all worked up.
I'm gonna go over in my corner and just rock back and forth.
I walked right into that one.
So, Austin,
Face first.
you're kind of skeptical.
I'm skeptical. I want to see how it plays. Again, I don't see trailers, so I don't know how the footage looks. I don't see many issues with it. I'm just hoping for the best. I give it the benefit of the doubt.
I'll tell you why I'm all in. Because it's Jon Favreau tweeting this stuff.
Absolutely.
If you're going to leak and you're going to leak from somebody, Disney's smart enough to leak from Jon Favreau, I'm like, all right, you got me. I'm in. Because, like, so far, everything Jon Favreau's touched, he's got the Midas touch. It turns into gold. I'm sorry. It just does.
The best move he did is he put me in as a director.
Dave Filoni is directing several episodes of this particular show, and we'll talk about the directors next time. I thought we could save that for another show. They did announce who some of the directors are for some of the episodes, and quite honestly, when you look at the directors who's who, you're like, wow, like these could be movie who's.
Yeah, I can't believe they got Ben Affleck, Tim Burton, and
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling is back.
I know.
And Howard Shore.
No, it's Keel. It's Peele. Jordan Peele.
No.
Key and Peele are directing that.
It's
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele and what's his name? I can't think of his first name.
I can't think of it.
Something Keel.
And and they got Howard Shore to do the music, so that's amazing. Okay.
Special effects by Amiga.
And Hanna-Barbera.
Oh boy. Okay, I think that's where we're going to wrap up this story for this time around. We're going to have a break here, and we're going to be just back in just a moment to review a few Star Wars fan films. So we'll be back in just a moment. And we're going to take a long break here, YouTube land. I'm going to be stopping you because we have to watch our fan film. We'll see you later.